All right. Hola, cabrones. What's up, Deep? What's up, guys? Everybody, this is another episode. We're back. It's been a while. It's been a while since we did this, right?
Yeah, man. Wait, when was the last time we recorded?
Bro, I have no idea. I have
I
no
don't. I
clue.
don't either.
I have no clue when's the last time we recorded. Well, we're here. It doesn't matter. All right. It's okay. We're here. We're here. We're
Facts.
queer.
Facts.
What's that thing? We're here. We're queer. Get used to it.
Is that what you were saying?
I think that's what they said. I think that's the saying. Anyways,
We're here. We're queer.
get
Have
used.
no fear.
I thought it was get used to it. Yeah, it's get used to it.
I don't know.
All right, let's just get started. We're going to talk about the trade, the UAW, the United Auto Workers. They striked this week. They're on strike, and every time I hear strike, I
Yeah.
just remember that like SpongeBob episode where they like when they went on strike, so they're like outside, like we're on strike. I don't even remember
I don't remember the episode. It's been a
that.
while.
Yeah, I
Been
remember.
a while since I watched that show.
It's same, but that's like those are like core memories. Anyway, yeah, so they're on strike.
Right.
Ford, Chrysler, and um, Stellantis, which is just Chrysler, Fiat, and Dodge. They're like an entire conglomerate now. They're called Stellantis. But all the workers they're on strike now. You hear like UAW. That's not everybody. That's I think that's only like a small percentage of the total that are there on
There's only
strike.
10,000 workers.
Yeah, I think it's less than that are striking. Yeah, but it's not everyone. It's not everybody. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
so it's 12,700 workers that are on strike out of
Mhm.
146,000 total. So it's not even 10% of the union that's on strike. But they're the ones now now they're I think this is only I think at the Detroit plants now. So I think the other plants aren't on strike yet, but I think the Detroit are. So now, obviously, you already know what this is about. This is that the workers that work at these Detroit plants want more money, and the argument is that you know they didn't take a raise during the pandemic when COVID was out, and then now that it's happened, they've seen the CEO of GM, the CEO of Ford, they've all taken
Yeah.
some money in salary, and they always look at that. They don't really, it's not really, but obviously, the most compelling part is that there is inflation, and they're trying to make sure that their wages keep up with inflation, which is obviously, a concern because you know nobody in America except for politicians, and probably corporate America is really doing well um, with all the inflation. So they need to they're claiming that they need to increase. And for a lot of them, like GM, I think the CEO of GM had like a $40 million, 40% increase in her salary, 40% increase in her salary, in her wages. And I think they're asking for 36% increases in 4 years because this isn't like instant. So they're asking for a 36% wage increase within 4 years. So in 4 years, they expect to have an increase of 36%. That's how this works. Not that,
So are they trying to pull off a UPS for the
yeah,
for the
yeah,
UPS drivers got like 100K?
pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much what I mean, it's good timing. They're probably saying, okay, they caved, UPS caved. We went on strike, or did they? I don't think they went on strike. I think they threatened strike, and then they negotiated, and they
They
came down
they
to,
yeah, I believe they threatened strike and then UPS didn't want any of
well,
that, so
these guys
they
are
did something.
striking. Now, what's different is that they were going to do a nationwide strike. This isn't the same. Now, not every car maker in America uses union labor. For example, Tesla doesn't use union labor. Toyota in
No,
America,
yeah.
Toyota doesn't use union labor in America. Neither does Mercedes, neither does Honda. Many of them don't. They don't use
Oh,
union
okay.
labor.
Well,
So this doesn't affect Toyota at all or Tesla. Tesla offers them. Tesla is an American company, so it's more in line. Toyota's not. They just manufacture here, like Mercedes and BMW. They make cars here, but that doesn't mean that they use union labor.
mhm.
Then the other complaint is, Ford got a deal by the government. I'll say the Biden administration, but it's really Congress, where they got, I think, a lot of funds for the EV production. since they passed things like the Chips Act and stuff. And so apparently they were able to build now they can build EVs and they're getting more funds for it. But the deal meant they don't have to use union labor. So
Oh, really?
that's another reason why the UAW is pissed off because they're saying, hey, if you're transitioning away from gas vehicles and diesel, which is what we're making, and you're going to start making EVs in America, but that's not union labor, then where do we end up? What's our protection? And in a sense, I mean, I'm not, I don't know if I'm completely, I'm not, some people might say I'm anti-union, I'm anti-union. I don't know if I am. I'm just anti the teachers union in New Jersey, which I hate because teacher unions are different to me. I always see them as different. I don't think teachers union fight for teachers. I think that I think the UAW does fight for the UAW workers. They do. I think they're all because I've seen interviews, and it does seem like the guy who leads it is actually, of course, lefties, but he seems to be actually authentic in terms of that he's a union leader. He reminds me of like a classical union leader. He's fighting the rich guy at the top, even though sometimes that's a little bit misdirected. So, and it gets political even if he doesn't want it to make it. He doesn't want to make it political. Um,
Right, right.
but I just don't like teachers unions because the teacher unions every year education has gone down or has remained stagnant, or actually it has gone down, and the teachers unions always make it seem like the teachers are the victims of this like insane capitalism failure, which it isn't, because the teachers union leaders are making millions of dollars in severance packages, and the salaries are more of the president of the United States. I mean, when your union leader makes more than the president of the United States and has severance packages of the millions of dollars, and you're complaining that you don't have funds, I mean, ma'am, because most of the teachers are women, of course. Please look at where your money's going to because it's so stupid. And the teachers union only asks for one thing every year. They're only going to ask for more funding. They always say, "Oh, we need more money." The reason education sucks here is because we don't have enough funding. So
Well,
that's
what do you think about what do you think about the union in general, besides the teacher union? But what do you
like
think about
this
union in general?
unions in
Yeah,
general.
yeah.
I think unions can be
Not like New
useful.
Jersey, I guess.
I think unions can be useful. I mean, I'm not really in favor of most collectivist ideas because this is like a true collectivist idea where, this is like a group consolidating and then they're like going to negotiate against the big man. I don't think this is like the 1880s where there's the big man who can just fire everybody. There's a lot more regulations nowadays that are going to prevent anything like that. But I think it is better because it's difficult in like a big this is mostly skilled labor. This is essential blue collar labor. This is like the purest blue collar labor you'll find. These are
Hmm.
assembly workers. These are people that work, blue collar, and they're usually at the forefront of corporates that have historically, um, in the last like let's say 50 years, pretty much exported jobs in America that they would have to overseas countries like Mexico, Canada, Asia, mostly, even Europe and South America. Like Ford went to Brazil at one point or had a plant in Brazil, which they closed
Yeah,
in Edison. They closed an Edison plant and sent it to Brazil, which later then closed recently. That's happened. So it's like, okay, you do need union leadership to protect that, but also then again, where was union leadership all these years when this was happening? It seems like they're just focused on pretending. It's like, and we're gonna move into the political aspect of this because there is a big political aspect to this, to all of this. There's one party
it
that
is.
brags about being pro-union and pro-worker, but constantly doesn't do anything about it to really show off that
Kind
they're.
of screws them over.
Well, it screws them
Yeah.
over at every turn, and even indirectly, because inflation is really the problem that led to this. Inflation. Although, if you hear from anybody that works on the corporate side, they would tell you this was coming no matter what. This is what union leaders do. They were waiting to do something like this because they're always going to ask for a raise, and I get it. Everybody wants a raise, but it doesn't make sense that when you're the CEO of a company and you've essentially told your workers, "Hey, I'm not making, hey, the company, we're not going to do increases because the company needs to make money, and we're in an inflation, we're in a recession, and COVID." But then again, 2 years later, you're getting a 40% increase in salary. That's not fair. That's just not fair. It's not fair at all.
Hmm.
It's also, like when is enough? When is one? And remember, who approves the salary of the CEO? The CEO and the board of executives or the board of trustees.
Or
So it's like they're giving themselves a raise because if you probably looked at the board of executives, they're probably getting a raise. The CEOs The CFO, the COO is probably they're all getting raises probably, or the CIO if you have one. They're all getting raised. So then at the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, how fair? This isn't really fair. There's credence, or rather, you're feeding into this.
Right.
You're feeding into this. So yeah,
Well, I'm actually laughing about this because we're kind of going through like a similar point at my job,
right.
um, where our bosses got like raises and the salary went up, you know, and so I'm not gonna mention like what job. I'm trying to be careful,
Yeah.
not to like bring up my job because there's a lot of crazy people out there. Um, yeah, I think we've been unionized for quite a while. Not too long, but quite a while. And there were some problems with the higher ups and how they treat, their own workers the past few years or so, you know. Um, I think we're about to renegotiate our contract probably in the next couple of weeks with the union. And it's been my first time meeting up with them as well because they wanted to see me and one of our new guys that just recently joined. So
Are you
my
in a
biggest
union?
problems,
Are you in a union?
Blavin?
Are you in a
Yeah,
union?
yeah,
You pay
yeah,
any dues?
yeah. I think probably like I spoke to one of the employee. I'm like, how much do you take out? And he was like around $9 or $10. That's pretty much it.
A
Like
week.
every check,
Oh,
every check.
add that up.
Yeah. So
That's
that probably like $18 to $20 a
that's
month,
that's about what, 400 something dollars a year?
probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but I noticed they don't slack off. I noticed that because they did we used to had a higher up who was very abusive with one of the employee, and that's when the union came around, and that's when the higher up was getting like all these kind of lawsuits and everything. So it's like, yeah, the union's there to help, but then I've kind of noticed like I think Plainfield too is unionized. I don't know because the department doesn't work for the state; it just works for the city. So I don't know if they're unionized.
Well,
Um,
most state governments have unionized labor. I know that most of them do. They're in a union. Like if you
right.
look at
I don't know what Plainfield is. I don't remember.
most likely. I mean, if you look at like the federal government, parts of it are like the borderland, the border homeland security, border patrol. They're unionized.
Yeah.
TSA is probably unionized. So aspects of it are unionized, not everything. The federal itself is not unionized, but there are departments that individually unionize. I'm sure it is. New Jersey's big on unions, so all the Democrats are big.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised.
Right, right. Um, where was I? Yeah, yeah. So yeah, he was physically hurting one of the employees. He got fired for that. He didn't get in trouble. He didn't. There was like
Physically?
no charges or anything. Yeah,
Oh my
physically,
god!
yeah. Like he slapped the employee for not doing his job right.
And by employee, you mean you? He slapped you.
Say it again?
He slapped you. That's what you mean.
Yeah, sure. He slapped me. No, this was a previous worker, like a long time ago. Um, there was okay, so one of the employee that brought me into like the union stuff, he has a lot of complaints.
Mm,
The only complaints I have, there's only two things, is raise up the minimum wage a little bit, the starting pay a little bit. 16.50 ain't cutting it. And also the higher ups want to add cameras in the break room
mm,
for I don't know what reason. Which is pretty annoying too, because we kind of want our privacy, when we're in our break room.
right.
Those are my two main concerns. That I'll probably bring it up, and they're there to help too. But I mean, yeah, they're good, but I'm pretty sure there are times where they just don't do their job.
Well,
So,
yeah.
but also the employee that I'm talking about also like to take advantage of it too because all he does is just sits around and not do his work. So it's kind of him. It's kind of on him as well.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So some people will take advantage of it. Some people will just like not take advantage of it.
Right. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's That's why it's very individual. That's why I hate when people say like, "Oh, you criticize the teacher union, you're anti." No, it's not. I'm anti this. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean that I'm anti everything about it. It's like I sympathize
Yeah.
because you do. How would you at a large? Because remember, this is Ford. This is a Ford corporate. You work for effectively Ford corporate. Who do you go to for a pay increase? You can't depend on the system of I'm going to go to my boss because my no your boss won't give you anything because your boss works for another boss who works for another boss who works for a department head.
Another one.
Has to
Yeah.
go to the
Yeah. So, yep.
wages at these places don't operate like, hey, I'm going to go work for you at this shop. How much are you going to pay me? Oh, I'm going to pay Bill 15. I'm going to pay Anthony 15.50 because he has more experience. That's not how it works. It's like you worked at Amazon, so you know how it is. Everyone gets paid the same wage.
Yep.
It's whatever the wage is there. 10 people are going to get paid the same, whether you're better at something or not. You know what I mean? That's how it works. If you're not, if Sarah's not good at her job, Sarah's going to get rid of. But you're all getting paid 17.50. You know, understand what I'm saying? Like that's how it works. So
Yeah.
that's how they do
Yep.
it. But how do you collectively then say, hey, you guys are profiting after COVID? That's great because I mean, I don't think this current union head is the typical one of saying they need to pay $30 an hour. I'm over exaggerating. I think they're obviously asking for 40, 36. I mean an hour, but they're not saying we want $100,000 a year. Because we deserve way more and we're the one. I don't think they're saying that. I think they're saying, hey, if you guys made money, how come we can't make money? Because it's not coming off
Yeah.
as we're poor and defenseless. He's not really coming off as a victim. He's really coming off as saying, like, I want to make money too. Why can't we all make money? Because you guys are getting, and that's where the unfairness comes in. Well, why do you get 40% increase, but we can't get a 40% increase?
Yeah. Well. Yeah. We're like kind of going through the same shit. So yeah.
Exactly. So
Yep.
the director or the CEOs and everybody else at the corporate is getting all these increases, but the people making the product, and that's why I kind of dislike the unions a little bit because it's 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 very it ties in a lot into the little you would say the Marxist ploy of the worker versus the employer when that relationship should be cordial, it should be kind, it should be polite, not a constant of uh, the employer is oppressing the worker constantly, and that we're the poor little worker. No, the poor worker at UPS is making 100 grand now. That's not fair. But
Yeah. All right.
anyways,
Right.
so that's where it gets too far because ununionized will eventually. If I'm ununionized, this is what's going to happen: is that the cost of the product is going to go up because there's now an excuse for it to go up. And with the strike, there is going to be more expensive things, not just the cars, but the parts for cars, because manufacturers make their own parts. Ford makes its own parts. GM makes its own parts. Stellantis, it's Mopar, AC Delco, Motorcraft. Those are the brands for those big three cars. They make them, or they outfit them to other brands. But that's going to go up too. So you're going to see a lot of other things go up in the strike. Now, I don't know because Ford has, I think, said that they're offering, I think, 19%. GM, I think, is going with 19%. I think Stellantis has gone up to 26, or I think maybe 2021, or maybe 21, and Stellantis is at 26. That's where they're at, 26%. They want
Wait.
33% flat across the board. What happened?
How much are people making working working for yearly?
Hmm. Let's see. I'm gonna check that out. You're asking how much are people making?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Let me see. Let me see how much they're making.
I think I know Tesla's making like what 40,000 a year.
So it seems like
Yeah, they're not unionized.
it seems that the average Ford Motor Company they get paid $13 an hour.
$13. Oh, average. Okay.
Let's see what it is. Okay, so what they do at Ford, I know Ford. So what they do at Ford is that they have like tiers. So there's like most experience, less experience, who has like seniority. So like, who's there, who's been there the longest. That's kind of how it works there. So
Okay.
like, if you're at the top tier, I think like top tiers are making 28 an hour. And I think like senior
Ooh.
level, like let's say the in like senior level are making like 19. Um,
So they're probably making like 80K a year,
no, you're not making
70.
a year from that. No. I mean, you're probably making 50, probably 28 an hour. I don't think you're making
Oh,
80,
less than that? Oh, wow.
20. That's every week. Yeah, you're making about 58, almost 60,000 a year, 28 a year. And then you take out taxes, they're making maybe 50, 40, 48 gross, which is, not bad, but it's not in line with a lot of what they think they would. I mean, you can't really live. One person isn't going to be able to live in Wisconsin or Michigan on $48,000 alone. Because if rent is
Oh,
$1,500 for a one-bedroom apartment in Wisconsin, which it probably is, or 1,300, if I assume it's 1,300 a month and I divide that by 12, that's $15,000 a year, $15,600 a year. Yeah, that's not going to cut it for one person, and then other bills. No, that's not going to cut it. And so that's the problem is that the salaries aren't going up, aren't, and that's remember that's top tier. So you have to be a very exceptional employee or with there a long time. What about everyone who's just gotten there in the last, let's say, 5 years? They're going to be making 16 an hour, maybe 14 an hour. Now, of course, they have the benefits.
mhm.
They have entitlements because that's what they negotiate. So, like
Yeah.
vacation days,
All right.
healthcare packages, dental, retirement, 401k with matches, things like that. I know Tesla. They do like stock buybacks or options. I think that's part of like what they do. So, like Elon instead, so to fend off the unions because I know they wanna share because the unions in terms with Elon, that's really political. They want to make sure that he looks bad. They're gonna be like, they got him finally. He now has to pay his fair share. Now, I think
I can definitely see that.
Tesla employees, I think, got like a vote. I think they were able to vote if they wanted to be um, unionized. And then, I think they said no, and the unions automatically said it was rigged. That's rigged. That election was rigged, but the other one wasn't.
The fuck? Wow.
And I think so. I think what Elon did is that he gives them stock, or I think he gives them the option for a stock option. So I think they can do like calls, long-term calls, or long-term puts on stock, or like they have like a right to earn stock as they work.
That's
It's
interesting.
not
Wow.
bad, by the way.
Yeah, that's
Apparently,
yeah.
there are stories of people that are like millionaires. Since the Tesla stocks went up, there are people that became millionaires working at Tesla as like assembly line workers because they had stock options in their contracts. So, they're making maybe 17 an hour, but they have a stock option for Tesla stock, and the stock skyrocketed, and now they're multi-millionaires or millionaires. They're assembly line workers at Tesla. I mean, let's be honest, the assembly line workers at Tesla do a shitty job because those cars, I have seen them in person. Many of them have manufacturing defects in terms of the bodies. They have huge. I mean, that's renowned among Teslas. Huge defects in
Mm.
the body making when they assemble them. So, do they really deserve that? I don't know. The Ford though, I mean, Fords don't really have those type of problems. Chrysler does not. I mean, Chrysler's Rams suck, but hey, to each their own. GM is, those are the big three are what matters. Let's not overinflate Elon here. And I'm gonna get to the political side to this. There's one party under pressure because Trump has already said that he's going to go give a speech at the strike or in front of union workers. Now, of course, this is going to be arranged. They're going to bring in the Trumpiest of the Trump supporters that are in the union, which there are plenty. I watched
Yeah.
interviews of people like independent journalists that went to speak to the union leaders, or not union leaders, but I mean union strikers, union members, so workers really. And it's not really. I don't. I'm seeing really a balanced. I'm seeing a balanced side here. It's not like Trump or it's not fully Biden. I've seen both, and then I've seen people that are saying, "Hey, I'm here to secure my job. I don't really care about what the politicians are saying. I'm here because I want to make sure that if they transition to EVs, and they want to talk about that, they want to have more talks about that. They want to say, hey, you guys are transitioning into EVs, and Ford just got a deal where they don't have to hire UAW workers. I want to know that my job is secure because if you're going to transition all these plants to EV making, where am I going to be here if you're not guaranteed to hire to keep me? If I'm union, what's going to happen? And if I leave the union, do I
Mhm.
keep my benefits? Most likely not, because why would Ford pay for that if it's not required? And that's not bad on their part. Their point is to make money and cut cost, which is maximize profit. That's their deal. They're not going to do anything else. Why would they do the inverse? They're not here to waste.
Right.
So, um, that's why they're here. So Biden is on the hook. Trump already said he's going to the strike. Now, if Biden went, he'd be the first president to join an active strike in like 100 years. They haven't said they're going.
Who was
Uh,
who was the last person to do that?
100 years ago, it's probably Taft, maybe Taft or Roosevelt, maybe. I don't think Woodrow Wilson
Hmm.
was the guy. I don't think so. Probably
I'm
not.
pretty sure he wouldn't.
So Biden
Right.
may not be going. Biden may not go. I don't think he'll go. I don't think he'll go. So because I think already Trump's going, so there's the pressure. If he goes after Trump, it's going to look like Trump made him go, and Trump's going to obviously say that he made Biden go. I mean, Biden hasn't been to East Palestine, and the people that are there are still like fucked.
Mhm. Right.
Yeah. So, um, but this is the thing: you're the party of the union, and Biden and the CEO of GM. She's a Democrat. She was a former Democratic like nominee for the governor of Michigan, I think. So she's like a full, hardcore Democrat. She's very close with Biden. They know each other. They're like, she's not a big time Democrat, but she's known in Michigan. And so it's like that's going to be and so I think they've gone and spoken. I think they're not going to be, too friendly. Ford, I think Ford is Ford. They play both sides, and Stellantis is owned by like not by Americans, so I don't think they're going to be. I think they've tried to negotiate the most out of all of them, but they've gone up to 26%, and the union wants 36. I think they're not budging. They're saying 36%. So we'll see. I think eventually,
Do you think it's gonna happen?
I think both will eventually cave and meet in the middle. I really think so. I don't think either one wants to. I don't think either one wants to jeopardize their EV stakes, and I don't think either one wants to go on strike for long term because who's going to pay them? Who's going to pay these workers long term on strike? I think if 2 or 3 weeks go by where they're on strike and workers, because remember, not everyone's on strike, and they're saying they're going to get more people on strike. Now, if 2 weeks go by and nobody else is on strike and this isn't going anywhere, people are going to start looking and saying, "Hey, where the hell is this going?
Right.
Hey, there's no progress. I'm not getting paid. Where the hell is this going?" So this is going to be a problem. So I think both sides are going to eventually cave. I think both sides because I don't think it's and then, again the consumer is going to pay for this in the end. As much as I love these union workers, these blue collar workers who actually produce things and make stuff, because I do like business, I do like industrial. I love industrial more than I like the financial sector. Um, People are going to feel this. The consumer is going to pay for this because consumers, by the way, the price of new cars has already skyrocketed, skyrocketed,
Yeah.
and the price of car insurance has skyrocketed. The price to get your car fixed has gone up too. The used car market is on fire. It's insane. It's extremely overpriced. So this is going to get worse. It's going to get worse. And I really think they're going to have to find like a very quick solution to this and meet in the middle. I think maybe 30% might be it. I think protections on EVs. I think Ford might have to say, hey, look, even though we got concessions and millions of dollars from the government, we're going to have to say, hey, we're going to concede and give them EV protection. Now, Trump said that when he's back in office, he will not be subsidizing EVs. He's not going to support more EV production, or rather, he's not going to let companies, get rid of gas and diesel and focus on EV, which is smart.
Yeah. Yep.
I would do the same thing. Now, I think some of the workers are, I think it's kind of 50-50. I think some workers are like, hey, we do believe in climate change. and we want EVs. That's not a problem. Some are saying, hey, maybe that's not what we want. If these companies aren't going to protect us, aren't going to protect unionized workers, which is most of the company, with EVs, and I think they're just not going to support it.
Hmm. Well, let's see how that goes. That's gonna be interesting
Yeah, yeah.
thing to look
That's
at.
like in progress. All right, so we're gonna move on
Yeah.
to the more scandalous, because this isn't really scandal, the more scandalous part of the night. Let's start with Russell Brand. There's several little scandals with politicians and political commentators, and there's Russell Brand. So Russell Brand, your favorite, because he's definitely not my favorite. Um, I feel like you would
I don't
like
even
him
listen
like
to him.
that. You don't listen to him?
No, I'm not a huge fan of the way he talks either.
You're not a fan of British voices. I think that's why.
I mean, I've watched a couple times of him, but not religiously like that.
I've never been a fan of him at all. And this is kind of what people I don't understand all of a sudden. This is the thing with our side, with the right, is that some British dude who was a hardcore liberal prick becomes a not even a he's not a conservative. He's just a conspiracy
He's
theorist.
not.
He's not. He just
Yeah,
talks about gold and
I
drugs.
hate when conservatives do that just because they point
He's
out
red
conservative
pilled. It's like no,
top
he's not.
points. He's
He's not.
automatic.
Yeah, he's not a conservative. He's just
You do the same thing like Rogan and Bill Maher's like, no, they're not conservative.
no. They just no.
It does get annoying.
No, he just talks about 9/11 and the fact that there's like a conspiracy in big pharma. That's not really conservative. Everyone in
Yeah.
America is against big pharma, except for the Democrats. That's not really
Well, yeah, not right now. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. And he's not. I mean, he's not in favor of low taxes. He's not in favor of trade wars. Does he understand trade wars? No, he doesn't. I don't. He is a former acting star who back in the day was a star and was a liberal, and they loved him because he was a liberal, and his main cause was transparency, climate change. I think he's changed on climate change. I think he's not as a
Yeah,
hardcore.
yeah,
But his
right.
big thing was drugs, and it's still today. It's drugs. It's drugs. It's marijuana. It's a legalization of hardcore drugs. That's what he was always about. And I remember watching him in British media. They used to love him because he was like a rock star and he was like a media thing, but he was a hardcore lib. The BBC loved him, Channel 4 loved him. All these networks on English TV that were lefties, they loved him. Why? Because he was a hardcore liberal. You know, he was engaged to Katy Perry. He was a big star. You know, people loved him. He talks funny. He sounds funny. He's apparently funny. I've never found him funny. I remember him a lot because of that interview he had on. I think this was Channel 4. Was this BBC? This was the BBC or Channel 4 on with Peter Hitchens on drugs, and Peter Hitchens had a story like one time he like tried to kiss him. Russell Brand tried to kiss him as like a joke, and he didn't really find it funny, but it was
The
like a joke
fuck?
to make up. Yeah, it was like because I was also like on gay marriage, you know, like gay marriage was like is something he was a big supporter of, and Peter Hitchens has no like use for it. But you know, even
What
though you're
fucking
Christian,
fag?
because he's Christian, Peter Hitchens is Christian, and Russell Brand is like this libertarian wannabe, but he's like a hardcore liberal back in the day. And so anytime you don't uh preach the gospel of gay marriage, that automatically assumes that you're like a xenophobe. But Peter Hitchens says he has no time to waste in the debate. Peter Hitchens has been consistent. He says he has no time wait. He's not going to waste his time uh debating gay marriage because every time anybody wants to debate gay marriage, it's because they want to make the people against it out to be xenophobes and Christian, and he's not here for it because he has no time for it. It's not a big deal for him. It's not the biggest problem he could be dedicated to. He's more dedicated to anti-war, anti-government corruption, anti-China,
Yeah,
other things,
right.
anti-atheism.
More of the most useful things, not the
Yeah,
useless
things that are
stuff.
useful, anti-abortion, things that are useful with his time, things like that, anti-government surveillance, which Russell Brand apparently proclaims himself to be a part of, but I don't know. So, anyways, he's been accused of sexual assault, rape, etc., harassment. Now, this is where it gets crazy because the details are insane. Um, he was back in the day in a relationship with a girl who, at the time, he was 30 years old. The girl at the time was 16.
Wait, he was 30
He was
and the girl was
30 and
16.
the girl at the time was 16. Now, we know people that were in relationships like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna get out of this world, man. What the fuck?
Yeah, we know
That's
people that
dirty.
were in relationships like that. So yeah, we know people that were in relationships like that. And it's not the greatest place to be. It's not
No.
comforting. Anyways, he convinced this girl to get into a relationship with him, and she proclaims that they engaged at times when it got really bad. He forced her to do sexual acts that she wasn't comfortable doing and that she technically didn't consent to, because she kept saying no and she was crying and she didn't wasn't favored to her. Or another time she said she couldn't say no because he suffocated her by putting his mouth or his cock in her throat, down her throat, where she really couldn't say no. And that was part of it. So what was one of them? Um, Pretty much that he forced her to, let's just say, deep throat him, and she couldn't say no because she was upside down on her back on the bed, and it gets explicit now. And he made her gag, he made her, etc. And then he would spit in her mouth and force her to swallow his spit, or he would spit on her as well in other cases. So it's very gruesome. It's very descriptive. It's very sexual, very sexual. So that's
Hmm.
that's part of the allegations. Other times it's she made him have, like, I think another person said, like, he made me have sex in public even though I didn't want to. He spoke to me in like very degrading words. Um, in other terms, yeah, he did make me want to do it. I think a lot of it is sexual positions without consent, and it's very detailed, by the way, very very detailed. And in fact, he even apologized. He even sends an email or a text apologizing to her, apologizing for
Really?
behavior. And she has this, and she submitted this for evidence, or her attorney has, for evidence, saying, hey, he apologized to me, saying that, hey, I hope you don't think of me as a horrible person. And she says, I hope you get, and she replies saying, hey, I hope you get help. I hope you get help because you have problems. And he
Okay.
does have problems. I mean, he had an interview with Piers Morgan where Piers kind of much said, don't you, do you really get off with this like sexual predating? Like, do you really get off being a sexual predator? Then it seemed, because he has a book back like in 2003, 2004 that came out when he was, a thing, a star. He was still a star and a big liberal douche and prick, even though he still is one today, just not as liberal. Where he kind of just talks about how he enjoys hunting, he enjoys sex. He loves sex. He loves having sex, and he loves hunting women to have sex with. And the more they fight, the more he wants them. And he really does anything. He'll cry. He'll beg. He'll make up stories to want to get them to have sex with him. And that's it's very predatory. And
Yeah, that is. What the fuck?
he's had accusations of effectively, back in 2002, 2001, 2003, the Met Police in London getting accusations and reports of him being a sexual predator or of rape. This has happened. Now, what I don't like about this, because I'm not saying this because I think this is true. I'm saying this because this is what the allegations are. Now, they're going to handle this. I want to hear nothing more. Russell Brand came out and did a video and said, this is all like, all a conspiracy and a collusion against me. Okay, yeah, that's like the best defense ever. Not everyone is Donald Trump. Donald Trump gets the pass because obviously he did not rape
Yeah,
that woman. He didn't.
right.
He didn't rape that woman. None of the story made sense, and he actually talked about how it didn't make any sense. Um, and we all know this is all the stories, but not everyone who's Donald Trump, not everyone is Donald Trump, so not everyone's going to get that benefit. Not everyone should get that benefit of the doubt because Russell Brand is not as important as Donald Trump. I'm going to say that first and foremost. That's number one. And then number two is that you have a history. That doesn't help. And so the story of collusion, when you have a history of rape, accusation of sexual harassment, when your ex-wife Katy Perry says, "Hey, it didn't work out because he's kind of insane," that's another problem. That's another problem. Okay, so you have baggage that lines up with his behavior. You have a history of doing this. So I'm supposed to believe you that all of a sudden, this woman is now colluding, despite you having a history of this and admitting that you have a thing for uh, being a predator, even though you then spun it off in your little British asshole voice, manner of speaking, ways of saying, it's not really being a predator. I don't really like being called the predator. I like it's more like liking to have sex. I just like doing it. I like hunting. I like when I like talking to women, and he really talks about like when he's a celebrity. He does talk about like now that he was a celebrity that women were easier to get and that they were desperate to have sex with him and that he took advantage of them. So this is another predatory way of saying, hey, I had sex with women, even though in their right mind they wouldn't have sex with me because they would,
Yeah, this guy just
because I
like brings
wasn't,
it out, tells everyone, "Oh my God, I'm a predatory." Yeah, he
but
just
because
brings it out.
because I'm a celebrity, women want to have sex with me. So that's another thing. And we do, by the way, that is true. Women do want to do that. Lots of women do that. But
Yeah,
when you go out of your way and say, hey, I'm going to force women to do things
exactly.
in this. All right. And when you're in a relationship, by the way, you're in a relationship with a 16-year-old girl. You sought out a 16-year-old girl and made her your girlfriend at the time when you were 30 years old and insisted on having certain types of gay sex that you shouldn't be having. Gay sex. The fuck that came from? On immoral sex, immoral sex with people that
Maybe you're thinking about gay sex.
you know what? I think it would be better off for him if he
Look,
wasn't.
he's stumbling his words.
He should have had gay sex. If he did, this wouldn't have happened. Anyways, yeah, but this is the situation. And so what I don't really like is that the right, all of a sudden, you're talking about Michael Knowles, you're talking about Matt Wallace, what Mike Wallace, Matt Walsh, all the other people on the right are now saying, even Valuetainment is saying, this sounds like Andrew Tate again. Again. All right.
Yeah, I was watching it. I was listening to it today, and they were saying that even I think Ben Shapiro also
Oh
spoke out
yeah.
about it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He immediately went to the bench. He immediately went to Andrew Tate. He said, "This sounds a lot like."
Like I was hearing Adam and then Patrick were talking. Well, mostly Adam and the way they were describing him. But like I'm hearing it from your side, like the way you're describing things of what he did to the young girl. It's like, all right, now you guys are kind of like you're not looking at the bigger picture. You're thinking about, oh, since he's a celebrity and because he's pointing out the truth and the facts of whatever, now he's being silent. I mean, my problem was he did all of that in the early 2000s, correct? Why all of a sudden now he's the media and everyone else is going after him on whatever happened in the early 2000s? Why didn't they just chase after him
Well, this
at that
didn't
time?
happen.
Is it because he was like a hardcore lib and he was just this, you know like why all of a sudden now and not before?
Well, these things happened in like 2008, 2009, but he had allegations, of course. Um, effectively, effectively, um, I lost my train of thought.
So
But
looking at porn.
no, effectively, talking about like this happened. This isn't something that happened in his in his time. This happened for years. I think up till like 2012, 2013. He was engaged to Katy Perry, and I think there were interviews where she talked about that he had problems, that he was not in his right mind along those lines. Now she doesn't explain it outright, but she does talk about it wasn't going to work. They were married. They were engaged and married. Katy Perry, who is also insane, but you know takes one to know one, I guess. This isn't a
Mhm.
normal behavior. Now, is it right? Piers Morgan released. That's what I was looking at. Piers Morgan just released a letter that he got from someone in the British government saying they wanted Rumble or YouTube to demonetize him and punish him.
Yeah, I think it got demonetized on YouTube.
Again, we need to be able to separate the things. One, he may or may not be guilty, but that doesn't mean that it's because he's a conservative. Because what happens if he did this? What happens? Someone tell me. What happens if he does this?
Right.
Does Ben Shapiro then come out and say, "Well, actually, we're not really going to know because no, 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 no. You went out and made an episode and made money on this episode saying This is collusion. Now, two things can be true. The British government did, and YouTube did demonetize him. That's not right because he does have a right to defend himself. But is it smart? This is why nuance and context still matters in today's age. Not just A is A and A can't also be C. You know what I mean? So 2 plus 2 can
Right.
be 4, but so can 3 plus 1. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be 2 plus 2. It can be 3 plus 1. Two different numbers. They can both equal the same thing. 3 plus 1 can equal, yeah, he did do this, but it is also true that the government went out and went after him because he's not really conservative, but he's going against the grain of the big pharma, the COVID lockdowns, etc. That stuff. Because that's what he's mostly about. Does he go wacky on the conspiracy theories? Hell yes, he does. Wacky.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
who cares? I don't like the guy. I don't have no use for him. I have no patience for him. I've seen him when he was. I remember Russell Brand when he was a hardcore liberal prick. That's when I remember him. I've never liked him since. I'm probably not going to like him afterwards. I've seen him on Bill Maher. I've seen him on the other things. I don't buy it. I don't like it. I don't want it. It's not for me. Does that mean I want him demonetized? No. Does that mean I want him in jail because I think he did this? No. They're going to go to court, and I expect him he's going to go to court with a lawyer, and they're going to present both sides. Now, the point is there going to be like a jury? I don't know because he is a celebrity. Now, remember, what happened with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard? Amber Heard wrote that op-ed. The world was against Johnny Depp. They were calling him a misogynist. Everyone in RP was saying that Johnny Depp was innocent, but who gives a shit about the incels on RP?
Mhm.
Everyone said, all the dudes were like, Johnny Depp, man, that's fucked up. But remember, conservatives were saying, we'll see what happens because remember, they don't like Johnny Depp because Johnny Depp, did the thing with Donald Trump.
Yeah, with Donald Trump, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Amber Heard is also a liberal. So what did conservatives say? I don't give a shit. This is just funny and dramatic for me. And it really was for
Mhm.
me. I don't really care. You know,
Yeah.
I did like the fact that there was some sense of justice that the jury, the judges were able to see both sides. Now, what's the point here? Is there going to be cameras and will people be able to see both sides? Because this is what helped is that there were cameras and both sides were able to see the evidence coming out that Amber Heard was not only lying, but she herself had caused damage to Johnny, psychological damage to Johnny, and even
Yeah.
property
She even
damage.
she even pooped on his bed too.
Property damage. So that what we were able to see that during the case that this woman
Yeah.
was insane. She's
Yeah.
insane. But what you remember? What was the stat? What was the narrative before the case?
No, he was a abusive, misogynist
That he was an
piece
abusive
of shit.
husband, and that he made her cry.
Mhm.
He abused her. That he was a horrible husband. That he, abusive. And then after now, we now know the truth that she was a psycho. She is also, by the way, keyword also a psychopath. Because let's not assume that he's completely right in the head.
Yeah, that's like it's like one thing when you're a celebrity, when you're up there, when you're a celebrity, you're someone who's a public figure, a celebrity. When you're up there, there's a limit to it. You guys gotta be careful what you're doing because if you're like Russell Brand, whatever he's going through mentally, that's a mental problem. The fact that he's going out there publicly telling people that, oh, I like to hunt a woman and have sex with them is like, why? Why would you do that? You gotta understand, dude. Like people know you. A lot of people know you around the world.
Now,
If you're gonna go like,
I'm gonna push back here. You should be like this, celebrity or not. There's no reason anybody should be bragging about the fact that they like sex all the time and saying, I like to beg and tell these women because I'm famous now. This is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
none of it makes any sense. Why would you write a book about this? You are doing this to
He
yourself.
wrote a book about it too.
Yes, it's in his book. A lot of it's from his book. And he went on interviews. He talked about this with Piers Morgan like years ago.
What a dirty little boy.
And like Piers Morgan was on CNN. He went on CNN. They talked about this, and he said, I don't like the word predator because it makes you see. I just don't because it makes you seem some way." He talks like that. Yeah, so that's
Yeah, and I don't like I don't like how they're like comparing. They're putting the similarities between him and Trump too. It's like no,
oh, and then Andrew
Trump was not
Tate,
like that type of person.
and
Yeah,
then
that too.
Andrew
It's like
Tate. It's
no,
like, look,
Trump is
what
Trump
did
is different from everyone.
what did people do with the Andrew Tate stuff? It's died down because what did they do? It seems like it's not going to happen. There's going to be a trial, but it seems like the trial is backfiring. That's what's happening. People are going to make their own decisions.
Yeah.
And by the way, let's put this off. Andrew Tate is not as famous as people think he is. He's famous among men in the conservative circles, but most people don't give a shit. Most people don't
Hmm.
give a shit. They don't. They don't care.
I agree.
They don't care.
Yep.
They don't. Why? Because they have things to do, like raise families and work jobs and pay bills that Andrew Tate is not helping pay. All right. The incels on RP, because they have no lives. They're addicted to the gym. All they do is go to the gym, play video games, and then listen to Andrew Tate. They have nothing else going on. And then pretend they invest in Bitcoin and lose all their money. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. They do nothing. They offer nothing of value. All right. Let's dispel that notion once and for all before we move on. So, anyways, uh, then there's the next one, Boebert.
My second wife.
That's what I tell you guys. You can't find love in the club. You can't find love in the club. Now, she needs to answer some questions. Why the fuck is her
You know,
boyfriend? Why
you
is
can
her
easily
boyfriend?
tell. You can easily tell before all this incident, she is that frisky little girl.
Well, first of all, ma'am, you're 36-year-old. You have 5 children that you constantly go around talking about that you campaigned because you love the family. You divorced your husband for some reason irreconcilable differences. You have 5 children. What's
Mhm.
going on there? You should worry about that more. Why is your boyfriend or lover at this time? Why is he a drag show supporter? Why does He's a business owner. That man who groped her is a business owner who hosts drag shows.
Isn't he also like a Democrat?
Yes, and he hosts drag shows.
Yeah,
He's a host of drag shows. Why are you with this man? Why?
it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's weird as hell.
It's making all these speeches, and all of a sudden you're with a guy that's
Now
like drag
you're getting
shows.
groped by a guy. You're getting groped.
Yeah.
You're getting groped, and you're also groping him because he probably has a pussy. So
You know what's crazy? The cameras over there are way better than the ones in the White House because they still
uh,
can't find they still can't find the
uh,
guy who
yeah,
did the cocaine.
yeah, that's insane. I mean, the first off, the cameras are better than any UFO thing I've ever seen. But how are the cameras better there?
Yeah.
But when I need someone to get a UFO, they're better.
I want to know who did the cocaine
We
in
all
the
know who
White
did the
House.
cocaine. No, this is insane. Like, why? I mean, honestly, but I mean, it makes sense. So people are like, why are the camera? I mean, the cameras are good because it's night vision. It's also why are you getting down and frisky at the movie theaters or at the play watching Beetlejuice? Beetlejuice,
Yeah, Beetlejuice. Yeah,
and
out
you're
of everything
vaping,
else.
and you're vaping, and you're vaping in a theater where you shouldn't be smoking at all because there's rules in most theaters that you can't smoke. You're vaping. You did, by the way. She did this to herself. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I get it. People like her. She's hot. She's not ugly. She is hot, but she's stupid. She's
Yeah,
stupid. She's
yeah.
completely
She's
stupid.
beautiful but dumb.
Yeah, she's completely stupid. I mean, Marjorie does things like this, but
She's next. She's next.
yeah, I like her more than Boebert. I do because at least she wouldn't get groped in a movie theater,
You
and she
never
wouldn't
know.
be going out,
She might get groped somewhere else.
and she wouldn't be going out with a fucking drag show lover or a drag show host.
How old is she, Marjorie?
36. Oh no, Boebert.
No, Marjorie.
Oh, Marjorie's like 42, probably.
Damn, she don't look 42. Well,
Let me see. Taylor Green.
yeah, I think it all started how
She's
yeah, they
49.
were getting frisky, and then there was a pregnant lady. I think that there was a pregnant lady behind her asking her to stop vaping. She was pregnant, and then I think she was like no, I can do whatever I want. But then she also claimed that, oh, it's the smoke machines. It's not me vaping. But it's like, no, it's you vaping. We can see it. Well, I can't see any machines at all. Not that thick. That smoke is coming from your mouth.
Yeah, duh. First of all, why are people fucking defending this? She's already apologized. And now I'm seeing these idiots saying it didn't actually happen. By the way, she'd be the first one to say
Yeah,
it
she
didn't happen.
admitted.
She
Yeah,
said it happened. She apologized.
yeah,
I've already
exactly.
said, I've told you this before. She's not getting reelected. It's over.
No, this is gonna hurt her even more.
And this wasn't, yeah, and this isn't the nail on the head. The first thing that hurt her was this year was the fucking speaker thing.
This is not gonna make her popular anyway. This is gonna
No,
hurt her.
she won her election by like a thousand votes. 1,000
Yeah,
votes.
yeah, yeah.
Those are
Wasn't a lot.
independents. You've lost them. You're done. Bye bye. Bye. Bye.
But it's just crazy how
Yeah.
it's not like
This
I'm
is
siding her. It's just the way the media is so picky about
Oh yeah, yeah. But this is
what
the
they want to
problem
put
that I
out. It's
have
like
because I get it. Like what have I said? Why are you letting yourself get picked on?
that I also agree with that as well.
You know you're
Because
the
because
target.
you're also giving them ammunitions. Yeah, exactly.
Why you're the target. You know this is happening. Do you see Donald Trump out there groping women? No, he's not doing it. He's doing it in private.
Right.
He's
Yeah,
not
no, she's
married.
out there.
He's not getting
She's out there
married.
in public.
She's at I mean, what else am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do, Lauren? What do you want? What am I supposed? Am I supposed to go out there and take the? No. Why? What is going on? What are you doing? What do you want me to do? Go out there and take the camera footage from the movie theater? What am I supposed to do here? How am I supposed to defend this? I mean, she apologized, but now there's these dumb fuckers like Matt Wallace on Twitter saying, "I have actual footage. I have obtained unreleased footage showing that this isn't true." Get the fuck out of here. What's the point? She already apologized. Do you really think if
Yeah, she apologized
this
and
was fake,
she was she
she'd
was
be the
like
first
she
one?
was like, "Now you know you can't go on a date with another person from another side of the political aisle." It's like, uh,
You shouldn't be
I
getting
mean, you what
defended.
did she even knew that the guy was like involved in the drag shit?
Who
Like
gives a
that's what I
shit?
want to know.
You get groped on the first date? You're getting groped on the first date. What the what the fuck? What is going on here? And then I mean, this is just insane. And then she goes out and she says, yeah, and then she says that it's like, ma'am, that's not the point. You're an elected congresswoman. Be professional. Why
Yeah,
can't you be professional? You can't get a Chinese spy. At least the Democrats get Chinese
no,
spies. They're professionals. Wear some shorts.
yeah, she really fucked up big time.
Wear some track shorts. Wear some sweatpants and shorts like Fetterman.
I
Be
think I think
professional.
I'm gonna have to I think I'm gonna have to divorce her too. Yo, let me get Marjorie. You can get someone else.
No, I have Marjorie. No, you know what? You can have Marjorie. I have Nancy Mace. She has nice eyes.
Okay, fine, you can take that.
You can have her. I have Nancy Mace. And I have Kirsty Noem, by the way, who cheated on me. Who cheated on me
Wait,
apparently.
how did that happen with like what's going on with her? I
Yeah.
don't know too
Now
much about
apparently
her.
the New York Post and like the National Enquirer have this article saying that she cheated on her husband with Corey Lewandowski. Now all like Kirsty, Kirsty. Out of everybody, it had to be this motherfucker. Him. Him. That guy. The dude with a pinto bean shaped head. That guy. That guy. You couldn't choose someone like Donald Trump. You couldn't choose Trump Jr. Trump Jr. You couldn't choose choose someone handsome.
I think
Trump
you're
Jr.
saying
is
Donald
handsome.
Trump.
No, Jr. is handsome. That makes more sense. Or
Oh
fucking
man.
or one of the Nelk boys. You couldn't choose one of the Nelk. You couldn't choose fucking what's his name? Jack, Mike, Johnny. What the fuck his name? Steve.
Steiny?
Oh no, not Steiny. Oh, she cheated on him with Steiny. I'd fucking assassinate her.
I'm like, damn, Steiny.
No, I'm talking about the other kid. Oh, what's his name? The other one.
The main one.
Steve.
Fuck.
No,
It's
no, Steve. The one who flirted with her. The one who wanted to flirt with her.
Steve will do it.
Yeah, Steve. You couldn't do it with Steve. I'd respect you if you did it with Steve. You couldn't do Steve.
Yeah.
What's wrong with Steve? Fucking Steiny.
So I think he's also engaged too.
Cheating. Yeah, who gives a shit? They're all cheating on everybody. Fucking. She cheated on her husband with Steiny's dad. That's what this motherfucker looks like. Steiny's dad. That's what you got the equivalent of. Corey
I
Lewandowski.
heard. Yeah. I think I heard of that. Yeah.
Corey Lewandowski. Seriously. Yeah, he's the former campaign officer for Trump. He got fired because he beat up a woman. You're cheating on this dude?
So do you think? So was this like a plot to attack her because she
Now,
might be the running?
now this is the random part. Why is it the New York Post? This is the surprising part. The New York Post, which is supposedly run by Miranda Devine, needs to come some out of nowhere and tell the media, tell the public why the fuck is this happening now? You run the New York Post. Australian lady, explain. Speak. Explain. Why? Why are you?
Uh,
Why are you doing this?
yeah. What is with these fucking foreigners running our company in America?
Honestly, I mean, she's Australian. She's fine. She released the Hunter Biden bullshit, but now you're repaying us with this? Honestly, now. Honestly. And then Kirsty. Now, I get it. Maybe she did do this. Maybe she didn't. Now, maybe this isn't. I mean, they tried to do this with Nikki Haley, remember? When she was like in her first year.
Yeah.
They tried to say that she was
Yeah. She
she
did.
was like sucking off Trump in the Oval Office. I mean, come on. Come on. Come on now.
Hey man, we probably want that money.
I mean, she was barely there. She was barely there. When? How? They're saying that's really insulting, though. It's like I say that about a Kamala Harris, but I'm racist. You say that about an actual Indian woman, and you're a progressive. It makes no sense. That's what pisses me off. I don't give a shit about Russell Brand. He's a pedo for all I care. But these two, I mean, come on now. It's not. What did I tell you? All of a sudden, she endorses him. All of a sudden, she endorses him. She's gonna be vice president, and this comes out.
Yeah, and that comes out.
Now
Yeah.
this is. Come on, let's be fair. Let's be fair. Let's be fair.
And she don't even got baggage like that.
No, all of a
Not
sudden,
like Russell
all of a
Brand. No.
sudden, all of a
Yeah.
sudden, yeah. So that's that one, and yeah, no, it's insane. It's insane. Yeah, I mean, they're not even talking about how the fact that Ron DeSantis is fifth in New Hampshire now. He's
Is
fifth.
he really?
He's fifth. There's a new poll. He's fifth.
Who's second? Vivek?
Yeah,
Vivek?
yeah, Vivek. Yeah,
Hmm,
Christie and Haley are ahead of him.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
it's Trump,
that's crazy.
Ramaswamy, Haley, Christie, and then DeSantis.
Why is Ron still bothering with it?
I know. I mean, the fact that
He's fucking
Chris Christie's at 11%,
11.
11,
Wow.
and then yeah, it looks like my boy Dougie is up there. I guess I don't know.
Boy, Dougie D. Dougie
I don't know.
D.
Apparently DeSantis kicked Tucker's dog. That's what it's. There's a book that came out by Michael Wolff, who's like a provocative gossip author, and he said that DeSantis kicked his dog. So I don't know. Maybe
We all kick our dogs, so what? You kick your own dogs.
I do, but at least they're mine. I'm not kicking other people's dogs. Yeah, there's a distinction. Let's be specific here. Come on, let's be fair. Let's be fair. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, come on. Now, these elected officials. Come on. You need to explain. Please explain.
Well, I think I did ask you this before, but besides Noam, who else can run along with Trump? A female.
That's the thing. I don't know. I think she's the only qualified one that would probably get traction, or that people might like if they really get to know her, because she's smart. She's clear. She doesn't run around the bush. She's like the female Tulsi. I mean, except that she is not in the military and she's not really libertarian, but she is conservative. And she is
But
against.
isn't she also shilling in with Ukraine? I don't remember
No, she's
the
not.
date
She's
that
really focused on just
happened.
America.
Okay.
But I just don't know where this is going. I don't I think people
Hey,
are
you
trying to
never
say,
know. You never know. Maybe Trump will still let her run.
oh, I think he's really I think that's the main one. I don't want Carrie Lake. I don't want Nikki Haley
No,
might do.
Carrie
Um
Lake.
there's another
I
one that
I I like her.
you like her.
What?
You like
I
her?
like her, but she lacks experience. That's
Yes.
pretty much
She
it.
has no elected office. She's just a former candidate and she's a former news women lady. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on. And then there's this is Congresswoman from New York, I don't know, Stefanik. She's number 3 in the
Okay.
House. Elise Stefanik. She's a New York Congresswoman. She's like 3 terms now or 2 terms now, and she's been pro-Trump, but
Oh,
she's
okay.
been prone to a little moderation. But she's I don't think she's really well known. And that's the thing. There's a lot of people. Remember, this is the thing. Trump sucks the oxygen out of the room. Mike Pence wasn't well known. That's another thing. Mike Pence was not well known. But
Hmm.
he was well known within Republican circles, and people were comfortable. But I don't think Trump really cares about that anymore. I think what he cares about is that he wants someone loyal and someone that's going to work for him. And if he tells them, "Hey, I need you to do this," they'll do it. Now, but this is the thing. Mike Pence was loyal until the end. That's why people don't remember. He was loyal
Yeah.
at the end. So it's kind of tough to really come out here
Now he's sucking off to Zelensky.
and now he's sucking off Zelensky and he talks about abortion. I mean, all the time. It's insane. He's like anti-Trump. He's more anti-Trump than Christie, which is funny, impossible to believe.
That's
He wants to
insane.
be. He wants to be.
What?
Yeah, no, it's so sad. But who gives a shit? I know I don't. No,
Chris Christie's running like he's going against Trump, not Biden.
I know, I know. But that's what he wants.
It's
That's
so
what he wants to
dumb.
do. That's what he wants to do.
It's like someone paid him big money just to do that. Yo, just get in a debate and just talk hella shit about
Okay,
him. Okay, you give me some Happy Meals too.
okay. I'm gonna do it because that's what somebody has to do.
Yo, did you know that going up to like Morris Plains? I think it's Morris Plains at
There's a road.
Hanover at
There's
near
a road.
Morristown. Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
road.
I know. Yeah, I know. There's a road. Yep. On your way to
Like,
Randolph. Yep.
this is a long fat ass road.
Chris Christie Boulevard.
Explains it.
Chris Christie Boulevard. Yeah, he lives near you. He lives in Mendham.
Yeah, it's like 15 minutes away. Yeah.
Yeah, he lives in Mendham, I pass by there all the time. Well, I used to when I used to go to
You know what's
Philly.
funny? You know what's funny? I've never been to Mendham.
It's just houses, really. It's really rich though. A lot of big ass houses, expensive ass
But
pizza.
isn't there like a downtown area, like a little downtown
A
area?
little downtown, but it's really small, quiet, not much out there. Not
Yeah.
post office,
Right, right.
pizzeria that's really pricey. $3 Gatorades. I was like, what the fuck?
Mhm. Jeez, what the fuck?
$4 Gatorades actually, like hella expensive. But that's just rent. Rent. That's really rent.
Right. Yeah.
There's like some Spanish people working the pizzeria, of course.
Yeah. I actually want to go visit Mendham one day. 'Cause I really want to see how the houses look. I know it's like really,
Huge,
really big.
huge. I love to pass them
Yeah.
by. Huge,
Yeah.
huge.
I always like driving locally and just like check the nice houses around.
Yeah. Now
I like
you've
all
seen
that.
Chatham, Summit. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah,
Tourist is gonna be.
yeah. I bet the Chatham
Um,
Summit. Yeah.
I guess like this. I guess the end was like some big news today that came out that Rupert Murdoch has retired officially from Fox News and Fox Corp, in News Corp, and his son Lachlan, the oldest of the four, has taken over until he dad passes away. Now, apparently when Rupert Murdoch passes away, the other 3 children are gonna have a say in terms of what happens at the company. Now, the progressives are saying that Lachlan is the pro-Trumpiest of the children. I don't see that. He's not the pro-Trumpiest of the children. I know he was friends. I know he's friends with Junior, with Trump Junior. That doesn't mean anything. Trump is different. Trump doesn't like any of them. Then there's John
No,
Murdoch.
why do you say that?
Because I've read stories and observed how he is. He is not Trumpy. He's not really conservative. He's just a businessman who wants ratings and wants money. So he'll go with his route. He's friends with Trump Jr., but they're in the same age, so they know each other. They've known each other before politics. So this isn't really a relationship that's built on fucking conservative principles. Um, and then there's John Murdoch, who is he's like a Hillary stan. He's a huge Hillary fan. He's a liberal. He is your typical
Hmm.
white boy, billionaire son of a billionaire who is a liberal. He's a liberal. He's a hardcore New York liberal.
Son of a billionaire.
No, you
Right.
never heard of. And then there's the two daughters who one of the daughters works in the corporation, but I think the daughters are mostly Democrats. They just work at the corporation, and and so they're not really a big fan. And so I think when the dad dies and they all get power, I think Lachlan would be in favor of keeping things as they are. I don't know if Lachlan would have liked Tucker going, but I don't think he fully endorsed Tucker. So I don't know how things changed with Lachlan now in charge, completely in charge. Um, it's funny with all the Succession quotes. Everybody's like, "This is boring. There was no drama yet." No, the season finale kind of sucked. With the fact that the dad just retired out of nowhere. He just retired and said, "Yeah, I'm just going to be the chairman, um, emeritus, um, you know, and be around a little bit, but he's going to be running it from now on until I die."
Right.
And I think Rupert is like 93, so he's old.
Wow, what the hell?
He's been doing this forever. So now Lachlan, who's like 52, I think Lachlan is like 52 or 53. Is the one who's in charge, and he's the most handsome of them all, the more charismatic one. He's the one married to the supermodel wife and everything, and so he's the ideal heir, the typical heir to the billionaire empire. But I think it's gonna be tough because I don't think news media on TV is cable media is the future. I think it's gonna be tough.
No.
I think their biggest, most successful product is Fox, and I think outside of Fox, outside of that, I think it's Wall Street Journal. They own the Wall Street Journal, so I think or they have shares in the Wall Street Journal. I think that's their only really successful product. So I think it's gonna be tough to really to go after that. I don't know how they're gonna. I don't know what the future is for them.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be
Yeah, that's very tough. 'Cause, yeah, in the future, mainstream media will probably die down. Not soon, but probably give it 20, 30 years, maybe,
yeah, yeah.
or maybe less. Yeah. What time is it?
All right, yeah. So we're done here. Everybody, guys, like, subscribe, follow everything everywhere you get your podcasts: YouTube, Spotify, Apple, iTunes. Check out our Patreon for more content. Like on Twitter, and even if you don't want more content, $5 on our Patreon just goes a long ways of supporting us. It's just support, and we appreciate that. This really helps us keep bringing you unfiltered, unbiased, independent, conservative, uh, you know, commentary to things that are happening, and just getting away from all the BS of the guys. The RP. You know how much I hate the RP. We talk about the race stuff. We bring new perspectives, new stuff. We fuck around, talk shit. So $5
Hmm.
goes a long way to us, helping us keep doing this, and taking away views from the fake news, So I hope you enjoyed
Yep.
this episode. Do all that, like, subscribe, tell your friends, notifications. Check out our Patreon. Subscribe or just donate $5. Goes a long way. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time.